Hey, what's up YouTube? Pirate King Codex here. I just wanted to give a quick overview of my current version of the Green Kid deck. You may have seen these cards before, but just a quick overview. So we have the leader, uses Captain Kid, so this is going to allow you to attack twice per turn. This is also going to be one of your game closers, so at the end of the game, if you need to, if your opponent's down to 1 life, now you can attach 7 Dawn and attack for 12. Pay 3, discard a card, then you swing again for game for another 12. So it's really hard for your opponent to stop that twice in a row. So if you're able to set yourself up in a position where this can close out the game, that's going to be when it's most useful, but you can also use it throughout the game if needed. If you want to keep pressure, it's situational, so it is relevant throughout the game, but yeah, this is one of your game closers. So this deck runs 4 copies of Momonosuke and 4 copies of Bonnie. These are your searchers. So you pay 1 and then you rest it, and then you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck. The Momonosuke will grab the Wano type cards, where Bonnie will grab Supernova type cards. So Momonosuke targets are the Cat Viper, Izo, Raizo, and Okiku. And Bonnie's targets are Capone, Killer, Apu, the other Killer, the Law, the Drake, the both kids, the 7 cost and 8 cost kid, Punk Gibson, and Strossard. So Bonnie has a lot more targets. Bonnie's going to be your main searcher. Momonosuke can tend to miss, but with this current list, it's not as big of a problem as it used to be. That's why I did bump the Momonosuke up to 4 instead of the 3 that I had it at before. With the more targets, I found it a little bit more useful in this case. But Bonnie's going to be your main searcher. Bonnie's going to find your big targets here. Capone, just a cheap 1k blocker for 1. It's going to be important for helping to protect your kid. We have 4 copies of the Killer. So this is on block. If you have 3 or more characters, you draw a card. You don't always need to have the effect. If you want to just have a cheap blocker, that's an option. So don't go out of your way to attach the Don if it's going to be a detriment. But if you can afford the Don, if you have the characters on the field, then do so. So yeah, this is something that will help give you some card advantage. Cat Viper is also very important for this deck. On play, you get to rest one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. So this is really good for getting rid of cheap blockers that your opponent may be using, or if they're playing Zoro or Luffy, they have a lot of cheap attackers. This will help mitigate some of that as well. Scratchman and Pooh, 2k counter, literally just here for a 2k counter. Never use it for anything else. If you really want to, I guess you can, but it's not really useful. Izo is the other 2k counter. This one is useful, so on play, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. So just like the Cat Viper, it's just a little bit bigger target, so this is relevant for Doflamingo, but again, this is a 2k counter, so you're probably going to be using it less on play, unless you really need to. The 3 cost Killer. This is one I've come around to. This is a recent addition to the deck, and I feel like it's kind of put it where I wanted to, so I think this is one of the changes I really like. And it does synergize with the blocker law, which I'll go over in a second. On play, you get to KO one of your opponent's characters that's rested with a cost of 3 or less. So again, it can synergize with the Cat Viper and the Izo. And then you also get a body out of it. And it does have a trigger, so you get to play the card and you can activate the effect. So if your opponent did just attack, and they had a cheap attacker like Zoro, for example, rested, you can just take it out just from getting this card into life. Another recent addition was Raizo. This card hasn't been too useful, except I do think it can be useful in the cases where you have your 8-cost kid engine online and you're able to protect the 8-cost kid. You can just have this sit in the background and just swing in to draw cards. I think that's when it's going to be most effective. Other parts of the game, it's not going to be as effective, and it does take 3 Dawn to come out. It doesn't really do anything until the following turn, and you need to have enough board presence, so if you're falling behind, Raizo isn't really going to help you out too much there. It does have 1k counter, so it is useful in that case, but it's best if you can try to save this for a late game when you can just have it be protected by 8-cost kid. 3 copies of Okiku. I did have it at 4, but I dropped it down to 3. There's no counter on it, and I've been finding it less effective in certain matchups. When you have 1 Dawn attached to it, and you attack once per turn, you can rest one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. So this could get rid of some of the bigger blockers that are in the way. So this can also help clear out some of the attackers that your opponent has. So it is useful when you get it down, but it does mean that you have to wait to the following turn before it does have any effect. So it is a big target for Jet Pistol against Red, so you have to be careful. And then you also want to make sure this hits the board before Robin. If your opponent's Robin does hit the board, then they're just going to get rid of it, and it's not going to be useful. And then 4 copies of Trafalgar Law. This one I was kind of sleeping on for a bit. I initially went from like 0 copies to like 1, 2, now I'm up to 4. This deck has a lot of targets, and with the addition of the 3-cost killer, I feel like this really helps make this card a little bit more effective. So you can do things like you can play the Cat Viper down to rest one of your opponent's characters. You can then play the Law to pull up the Cat Viper, and then you can drop the killer, and then you can immediately get rid of something. That also works with Ezo. You can also pull up the Ezo back after you use the effect, and that way you can use it as a 2k counter. So the Law does help with that, and it does have blocker, which is always useful, and as a 6,000 attack, so that's also useful. So you can use it as an attacker if you need to, but in most cases I end up using it as a blocker. You could also use this to, like pull up your Bonnie or your Momo to reuse them, or you can pull them up and put down a blocker. So there's a lot of different applications in this deck, and you can kind of do what's best for the situation. And then 2 copies of Drake. Initially had this at 3, then I dropped it to 1. Now I'm at 2. So I have a 2-2 split with the killer and the Drake, and I've been liking that split. This is more useful in like the Doflamingo matchup, where a lot of the cards can be 4 or less. They have a lot of blockers, so this will help in that case. Also having the 6k attack is also very relevant. So this card does have use after you hit it on the board. With it being a 5 cost, you don't want it to be your only source of removal. So that's why I also have the killer. I think works well in tandem with the Drake, so you can kind of do what's best for that situation. Then the 7 cost kid, so I had it at 3, and I dropped it down to 0. Now I'm at 2. So this is good in the mirror match, and if you can get the 8 cost kid established, this is good for helping to protect it. You're pretty close to the 8,000 with this already, so you don't have to work too hard to try to counter, and you can keep this card alive as well, so you want to have that big body. But it also lets you swing in and then have something to defend the following turn. So the 7,000 block is very relevant, and you can also use like your Punk Gibsons to help keep it alive and tap down some of your opponent's targets. And then the star of the deck is the 8 cost kid. This has the effect that when it has 1 Don attached to it, as long as the character's rested, your opponent cannot attack anything other than characters named Useless Captain Kid. So this is going to be useful for stalling out games if you need to, and then you can establish a board state, and then your opponent cannot attack your life. So even if you're behind, this can help you come back and stabilize. But you do need to commit a lot of resources to it, and throughout the game you are going to be trying to build towards playing this. So if you are able to stockpile some blockers, you can keep this alive longer. If you can save some of your 2k counters, that helps as well. And the Punk Gibson can also help. So those are all things that you want to keep in mind when trying to play the 8 cost kid. You don't want it to come down and just die immediately. You want it to stick around as long as possible. Then I also have 3 copies of the Punk Gibson. I had it at 2, bumped up to 3. I think it's very useful. It's a 4k counter, so this can help you get some of those bigger counters in if you need to. But it also lets you rest one of your opponent's characters, so you can rest their blockers, or if they have another attacker coming in. So you can kind of stall your opponent that way and kind of ruin their game plan. And it also has a trigger, which is relevant, so it gets to rest one of your opponent's characters. Doesn't have to be 4 or less. So this is also huge because you could block down one of your opponent's biggest threats, and then you can try to take it out, or it can clear the board for you to swing in for game. And lastly, we have the Straw Sword. I just have 1 copy of it. I had 2 before, but I only get 1. So you get to rest one of your opponent's characters. Keep in mind that this is just for the main phase. It's not a counter card. And it does have a trigger, but it's only to play a Supernova type card with the cost of 2 less from your hand. Not really relevant because we don't have any other targets in the deck. This is good for those cases where your opponent has something a little bit bigger that you can't tap down with your Ezo or your Cat Viper. Instead too, you'll have the Yamato, which can get 6 costs or less. There's gonna be more targets with it, but in this case here, this is kind of like your workaround for right now. And you can also tap down big attackers. So there's some applications with it. You can also find it with Bonnie, but it's here just in case if you need it. One thing I want to note is I did take out all copies of Hawkins. I had it at 4 initially, then I dropped it to 3. I thought 3 was good, but then I was finding it to kind of be a dead card. There's a lot of other 5 cost cards you want here, so there was a lot of competition for that slot, but I feel like these cards are a little bit more effective. With Hawkins, again, you don't have an on-play effect, so if it gets jet pistoled on play, you just spent 5 Don for no effect on it, so that's a big Don commitment to it. And I feel like if you can get the 8 cost kid online, you'll basically be able to wipe out your opponent's board systematically. So the Hawkins is a little bit less useful if you go in that route. I just want to point it out though, in case you're wondering why there's no Hawkins. I did do a lot of testing with Hawkins, but I decided to take it out for now. I may decide to add it back in if I feel like I'm missing it, but right now, not really. Also, no 2K Beppo counters. Initially had 4, then dropped it to 2, now I'm at 0. Haven't really been missing that one either. I feel like there's a lot of counter power with the Apu and the Izo, and both of those are searchable with the Momonosuke and then the Bonnie. So with the Beppo, there's no way to really search it, so you get the 2K counters when you need them more if you go in just these ones here. Alright, but that's my overview of my current list. Again, this may change depending on my playtesting, but this is going to be an ongoing process where if I feel like something needs to be changed, then I will make adjustments here and there. But right now I really like this list and I like the way it's been treating me. I'm going to keep practicing with this one for now. If we need to make any changes to it, then we'll see how that goes. Alright, let's get some games in. We are trying this Kidless versus Zoro. So I say we keep this one. So I have a Searchery here, I have Okiku, which is a nice early play, I have a blocker, and I already have the ACOS kid, which I'm going to need for later on. But let's play the Momo and see if we can find something off of this. Okay, not too many great options, so we'll take the Okiku. And we'll just pass turn. Okay, so my opponent has 3 Dawn. Alright, they play another Nami, so that means they're not playing Robin yet. But they are going to start being able to attach Rest of Dawn, so I don't want these to get out of hand. I'm going to have to let the Momo go, and he's attacking with Leader. I'm going to take this. Okay, no counter on this one. And let's see if he has a blocker or if he's going to leave the Dawn open. Okay, he just passes over. Draw Dawn. Okay, so I do have the killer. So I could do that to just KO the Nami. And then attack Leader. Or I can play the Okiku. I think I'm going to preemptively play the Okiku. But let's attack this Nami here. Okay, and let's just play the Okiku and end turn. So this way I can try to avoid him playing Robin. Okay, he plays Star Deck Zoro, which I can also try to take care of easily. Alright, so I'm going to take this one as well. Okay, Raizo. Okay. So we are going to want to tap down this Zoro. So what I'll do is I'll attack with the Okiku, just for 6. See if he takes it. He doesn't have too many cards in hand. So you'll probably save counters and take this here. Oh, nah, it didn't click through. Okay, so tap down the Zoro. Okay. Now, I want to save my Dawn for my characters, so let's just attack again with Leader. And he takes that one too. Alright, so he does have a few cards in hand now. So that's one thing to keep in mind, but we're going to play the killer. Get rid of the Zoro. And we're going to put a blocker down. So let's play the killer. And end turn. Okay, so now he's starting to play his own blockers. We also have to look out for Jet Pistol. Okay, he has another Zoro. Okay, so I do want to protect this Okiku. So I'm going to block this. Because I want to be able to tap down his blocker and the Zoro. Alright, and don't think we have too many options here besides the Okiku to tap down, so he's kind of a blocker in the way. So I have 8 Don to work with. I also want to start preparing my late game, so I have 7 cost kid and 8 cost kid. And I also have the Cat Viper, so we could use that to tap down the chopper. So actually what we'll do is Cat Viper the Zoro. Do that, and then we have 5 Don open. So I'll save 2 for the counter in case I need it. So I can put 1 more on leader if I need to. But what I'll do here is put 2 on the Okiku. We'll attack the Zoro, tap down the chopper. Okay, so he's going to counter that. That's good. So I'll attack leader at the Zoro. And worst case scenario, I can attack with the killer if I need to. But I think he'll... Nope. Okay, so he's not letting that go. Yeah, I was hoping to use the killer to attack the Zoro. So we'll have to go this route. The good thing is it is going through a lot of his counters. Okay. So that works in my favor still, because now he's going down to 2 cards. And we'll end turn. Okay, so he does have a jet pistol for the Okiku. He has another chopper. Okay. So he's trying to swing in a few times here. So what I will do is counter... I think I counter... Well, let's see. If he attacks for 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I think I'll let the killer go. So let the killer go. I'll save the counter for when Zoro attacks the leader. And I'll tap down chopper. Yeah, so I'll counter with the 2K here. Okay, so we'll use the Punk Gibson and tap down chopper. Okay. So now I do have a 7 cost kid. So I think I'll use the Cat Viper to attack this chopper. Alright. And I'm going to attack the Zoro. He's going to block the chopper. I'll use leader ability. Oh, okay. He used a 2K counter on that. Alright. So in that case, I'll just play the kid. And I'm going to play... I think I'm going to play the Okiku here. And use that as jet pistol bait if he ends up drawing it. Okay. Alright, so he's going to swing in big here. I'm just going to take this. Yeah, not worth defending that. Okay, so he's swinging for 8K. So I gotta take that. Okay, so that's good. I can KO his Zoro here. And I will take this one too. Okay, I have a law. Alright, now we have Momo. Let's attach it down here. We'll drop the Drake. KO the Zoro. And we'll attack here. And we could try to get a Capone off the bind. We haven't seen a Capone yet. So I think I might go that route. Okay, so don't get the Capone, but I do get the Punk Gibson. I think I'll take that just in case. Hopefully I can survive this attack here. So I think I'm going to take out the Nami just in case. So he doesn't have an extra character to swing with. Okay, and he might be going for a Rush Luffy here. So I will block this. And I only have 2k to work with. So that's not enough. Okay, so expected that to happen. Okay, and I'm going to take this. Okay. And there is a Capone, and I do have the Punk Gibson. And I have the Ezo. So if I have 7 left, I would need another 3 for a leader ability, so that leaves me with 4 Dawn. So he wouldn't be able to counter 7k here. I could try to go for a game. It might be risky. But I don't think I could survive another attack from this Luffy. And I don't think he can defend the Luffy. Yeah, I think we're going to try that. So we'll put 1 here. 1. Actually. Yeah, because he doesn't need... So if he has a 2k, that won't be enough. He's tapped out. Okay, so we only need the 1 down here. So play the Uzo, tap the Chopper. So now we attack life. He takes that. So now he has a possible 4k. So if I swing in for 8, he can survive with 2. So let's see if this lands. Okay, and I think I just have to go for it here. Oh, Radical Beam. Alright, so he gave it to his character instead of his leader. The leader would have been probably better. And let's see if he has any counters here. Yeah, just enough. Yep, that's what I was afraid of. So yeah, that's going to be in the game. Actually, what we could do is just have the Bonnie attack the chopper. Okay, that was a close game. I should have played it safer, but I thought I could close it out. What I should have done was just attack the Luffy, and I could have just played a Capone, or I could have played the 8-cost kid, kept down open for the Punk Gibson, but yeah, I thought I could maybe close it out, but yeah, it was close. It was a little risky, but yeah, so that didn't go well this time, but let's try another one. Okay, we're playing against Doflamingo. I have a 2K counter, Cat Viper, which doesn't help too much in this matchup. I think we're gonna mulligan this one. Okay, that doesn't help too much here. Alright, that's a little better. So we can start searching with Bonnie. Alright, I already have the 8-cost kid. I have a Punk Gibson. I already have a Law. Could get another Bonnie, but I think I'm going to take the Drake. The Drake will be helpful here. Because he'll play out a lot of 4-cost characters rested. Most of the cards in this deck are going to be 4 costs, so that's going to be relevant here. Okay. So just going to let the Bonnie go. Okay, so I have a blocker. I do want to not let his board get flooded. So I think I'm just going to attack his blocker. Then I'm going to play the Okiku, and then I'll play Capone, and I'll end turn. So what we really want to do here is survive until we can get 8-cost kid set up. And then when we can get a wall going and survive a few turns with the 8-cost kid on the field, blue has a hard time dealing with that. Okay, I think I'm just going to take this one. I could use some cards. But I do have the blocker. Yeah, I think I'm just going to block it, because he could also bounce it next turn. So we'll just do that. Okay. And we can tap down the Boa, but he'll probably defend it here. We'll just attack leader, maybe get some counter cards out of hand. Or he might decide to just take it. Oh, I have to tap down. Okay, so he does take it here. So I have 5 open Dawn to work with. So this is where the Drake comes in handy, so I'm going to play the Drake and KO the Boa. I'm going to attack leader and maybe get some counter cards out of his hand. Okay, so he used an event for that. And I'm going to pass turn. Okay, so it looks like he's probably going for leader effect here. He set up the top few cards. Alright, so he's going to get the Boa back. Oh, he got the Law. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna let this go. Don't have much of a choice. Okay, now he's probably get the boa back. Yeah, there it is. Okay, the straw sword could come in handy in this match. So we're at 8 dons. Next turn we'll be at 10, so I think we can start establishing a board. So I could Momo. Use Momo. Grab the Ezo. Unfortunately, they're all right here. I'm gonna attack the Moria. Try to clear out this board. He's tapped out, so no events, but he could put some counters into this. Okay, so he lets it go. Alright, so I still have 6 to work with. So I'll attach 1 here, attack leader. Again, try and bait some counters, gotta get some cards out of his hand. He's trying to get quite a few. Alright, so he's taking the life. So I'll take that at 2. And from here, I'm going to play the Law. We're going to pull up the Momo and drop the killer. And I'm going to end turn. Now hopefully next turn we can establish the kid. It would be nice to also have another blocker to drop down. But I could also put down the Ezo if I need to. If he puts down the blocker, I need to get there. Because he does have the Law. He does have the boas. But I'd rather save the Ezo for counter if I can. I also have the straw sword. I can tap something down. Okay, he's going for the Drake. I think I want to use a counter here and force another attack. So I'll get rid of the Momonosuke. But I am a little bit light on cards in hand, especially counters. Yeah, I'm a little worried about the hand size. He might have a 9 cost Mihawk that he's holding on to in case I play, I guess, drop kid or something. Okay, so this one I'm gonna take. Okay, so Bonnie, that's good. We want to see the Bonnie, so I can use that. Okay, here's the Boa, and there's the Law. Okay, good, another Law. So I could bounce the Ezo if I need to. So I'm going to start by attacking this Moria. If he has a counter or two, he'll probably just defend it. Okay, so that's 1 blocker down. Let's go for another attack and see if he uses a counter on it. See if he values it more. Okay. So it does feel a little risky here to drop the 8 cost because I don't have too many counter cards in hand. So I think I'm gonna play it without actually activating it. Could play the Bonnie. So I think I'll play the Bonnie, but leave it there. And we're gonna end turn. So you want to get rid of this Drake. But if he does have the Mihawk, he'll probably get rid of the Law. If he has Doflamingo, bouncing the Law isn't super helpful for him. So he's in a tougher spot. Okay, so he's gonna probably bounce the Law. That's one less blocker this turn. Nope, he just concedes. Okay, he probably didn't feel like he had an out. Alright, let's do another one. Okay, so another Zoro. Yeah, Zoro's a matchup I feel like I need a little bit more practice. Kid's supposed to be good into Zoro, but I haven't had too much luck. So let's see if we can change that. I think I'll keep this. So I have a cheap blocker I can get out early on. I have the Law, which can help. I have some 2k counters, which is good. So let's put out the Capone and end turn. It's also good to have the 7-cost kid in this matchup too. And the Punk Gibson's also good. And against Zoro, if you can try to get the 7-cost kid before the 8-cost kid, that'll help defend it. I think I want to stop this early life, so I think I'm just going to block that. Okay, so I'm going to have to take this one. I don't want to activate this trigger here. But that will help try to defend when we do have the 8-cost kid out. So I have the 3 Don for the Okiku. Let's see if we can get rid of Zoro. Probably not countering it though. Okay, so that's a 2k counter down. Alright, so we'll put out the Okiku before the Robin comes out. You could have Jet Pistol, which is fine. I'd rather Okiku get Jet Pistol than one of my blockers later on. Could also have Rush Luffy, but that's usually better late game. I don't have any blockers out, so that's not going to be too helpful for him here. Could have some blockers. Okay, I think I will... Yeah, I don't want to use a 2k counter here, so I think I'm going to take that one. Okay, there's 8-cost kid that we're looking for. Okay, I think I'm going to have to counter this one though. No blocker, and we'll play the Pooh. Okay, so there is the Luffy. So he's going in. I think I have to counter this one too. So very aggressive early game. No blockers on his end. Don't have any good targets for the Law. But let's see if we can get this Luffy down unless he has counters. We'll just target down the Nami. Okay, so I think I want to just keep the Don open for the Punk Gibson instead of playing the Law. I don't have anything else to really play with it. So I think I just want to keep the 2 open. Okay, so he just wasted the counters on it. And he quit. Yeah, probably a misclick. Alright, so let's try a different game. Okay, so he's back. Time for a rematch. Gonna mulligan this one. Okay, so we have the 8-cost kid. We have 2 2K counters. Okiku, Cat Viper, so pretty good start. Okay, so he plays an early blocker. Get the Punk Gibson. Don't have any turn 1 plays, so just gonna pass. I'm gonna take this one. Okay, so killer is good. Okay, so he does get the early Robin, so don't want to play Okiku here. But he could tap it down with the Cat Viper, but we have a Chopper in the way. And then we do have a Straw Sword, but I don't want to use it here. I could do leader ability. Okay. I don't want to put anything down because Robin's just going to kill it. So I'm just going to attack leader twice. So he's probably going to block with the Chopper. Nope, he's going to take that one. Okay. So I'm going to be aggressive here. Trash the Okiku. It's not really doing anything, so force either a block or a counter. Oh, alright, so he's taking the life. So if he attacks with the Robin, it's just going to leave it open. It's not going to really get too much use here. So just going to take this one. Okay, I'm going to activate the trigger here so I can kill the Robin. So that kind of worked itself out. Okay, now he's floating the board. That means less counters in hand. For this one, I'm going to counter. Okay. Now with the Robin gone, that works out better here. So I could Cat Viper. Put down Chopper. Let's see if I can get a free hit on this Chopper. Okay, so Chopper's out of the way. I do have 2 killers. So I think I'm just going to attack leader. Just straight for 5. Alright, so he's taking that one. Yeah, I think I'd rather get the card draw, but he could also KO it with like a Jet Pistol or something. So I'm not going to risk using the Don. I'm just going to leave it open in case I need to counter. And we'll pass there. Okay, so he's just going for an easy swing on that killer. He does have the 6 Don open. Okay. I could just counter out of this one. Yeah, I'm just going to counter out of this one. So I want to try to save my blockers for this 8-cost kid. Okay, so he's taking the life. So he's put himself in the danger zone. So I am going to just block this one. Okay, and then this one I'm going to take. So he's only down to 1 life. He does have a chopper out now. It's too risky to commit to all inning with that many cards in his hand, so I do want to clear out his board. So luckily I do have this Drake. So put down Drake. KO the Zoro. Alright, let's see if we can KO the Sanji. Alright, let's try to KO the Vivi. Alright, he commits the counter to it. So he's going to have 3 attacks coming in, so I do want to be able to defend that. So we do have to put out the killer. And hopefully we can try to get some card draw for that. So if he gets rid of the killer, I don't have too much defense. I'm going to be pretty much eating every attack at that point. Okay, so the good thing is he's wasting an attack on the Cat Viper. But he could always play the Rush Luffy. So I always have to be careful about that, because he'll have another attack that could come in. And with that many cards in hand, he has a good chance of having it. So if I can survive this turn, unless he puts down a blocker, I think I have to go for game. Okay, so this is one I can counter out of, so I do want to do that because I don't know what else is coming in. But he's clearly saving this Don for something. And he didn't attach the Don to the Zoro first, it could have been a 6k, which I would have had to block. Okay, so he has the Shank, so I can't block this one, so I'm going to be taking it. Okay, Cat Viper's good. Okay, he passes over. So I think we have to try to finish game here. So I think I put 2 on the Drake. So he counters out of those. So now if I attack, I have 5 to work with, so that would bring me to 10. So he is tapped out. So if I attack him for 10, hopefully he doesn't have all 2k counters, so this should be game. Okay, so he disconnected, so guessing he didn't have enough to counter it, so yeah, that's game. So yeah, it was getting a little sticky there at the end, so it really did come down to that last turn. But yeah, playing down the Shanks, it's kind of like the Hail Mary, but because he couldn't close out that last attack, yeah, the Shanks didn't do as much, but it did stop my blocker from being effective. But yeah, he didn't attach a Dawn to the Zoro because he had to play the Shanks, so he didn't have another attack with the VV. So I see why he did it, and it makes sense. But he had to kind of close out the game that turn because I was able to follow up because he didn't have any blockers. Okay, so we're playing against Law. This is one I have a hard time against too, so this will be good practice. I'll go first. So we do have a lot of blockers, so that's good. I think we're going to start with this. We just have to be careful with the 7-cost kid, because we could get Otama Jet Pistol. So let's keep that. Start with the Capone and turn. Okay, Nami. Grabbed a Robin, so I gotta keep that in mind. He's gonna be able to start taking out my cheap blockers. He has a cheap blocker of his own, so he's gonna be able to defend the Robin. Okay, we do get the Cat Viper, so that is going to be important. I'm gonna save that just in case. Let's put the Momo and see what we can find. So 2 of the kids are here, so that's not good. So it's going to be hard to rely on that for this matchup, which is something that we would want. I think we're going to take the Raizo. At least has a counter on it. And with the Robin come out, it's going to not be as effective here. So I think I'm just going to swing for 5. Okay, so we got rid of the chopper, so that's good. So hopefully he doesn't have another one. And I'm going to put out another Capone. So if he does play the Robin, I can just tap down with the Cat Viper, and then I can swing at it and knock it out. It's going to be a little harder for him to defend it. Oh, the Vista. Okay, so... Alright, so this is supposed to be OP-01 only, but he might have done like a random connection, so wasn't expecting the Vista. My deck was not set up for OP2, so I guess we're just going to roll with it. Yeah, I think we can counter that one. Okay, got another Raizo. So I think I'm going to play the Killer this turn. So I have 3 I can work with. So let's try to get a life here. Okay, So now we'll play the killer. And then turn. Okay, yeah, there's another Vista. He's got a lot of red on the board. So he's probably going to be able to fill out his board here. He's not playing a lot of blockers. So I think I'm just going to block it with mine. Because again, I don't think we're going to be able to go with the 8 cost kids. I think we have to just go with the leader ability most of this game. He does have a counter open. Yeah, so I'm going to be more aggressive here. I'm also at 5 life, so I can kind of afford it. So if he doesn't take this, then he's going to have to commit a few cards. Okay, so he's down to 1 life. So hopefully he's not trying to also go with the 8 cost kit. So I need to try to finish next turn. But with the amount of cards in hand, I don't think it's going to be possible. So I'm going to defend this. Like counter. Yeah, so I don't want the 8 cost kid to hit the board. Alright, so he did get rid of a 2k counter. Okay, and he just concedes. Probably didn't have too much going on. Okay, yeah, that was a little bit of a weird game. Don't really feel like there was too much of the law strategies that you would normally see going on here. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for now. I just want to get a few games to, try out the deck and see how it goes. Yeah, I've been struggling against law in particular. No, Zero's been a little uphill as well. So it's good to get a little practice. But the general strategy is to try to focus on getting 8 cost kit if you can. But as you can see, it can work without it too if you need to. Having the leader ability can put a lot of pressure, especially if your opponent's deck relies on wiping your board. So with this deck, he was trying to flood his board with cheap attackers. So he didn't have enough blockers, and I was able to kind of punish that. But thank you for watching. I appreciate your support. If you have any comments for me, please let me know. I'm very open to feedback, or if you have any criticisms for any decisions I made, I'm definitely willing to learn. As much as I love this game, I still have a lot of room for improvement, and I'm hoping to continue to improve as I play more. But thanks for watching. Be sure to bring along all of your hopes and dreams, and I'll see you in the next video.